Good morning, everybody. This is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship. And of course, this is my good traveling buddy, Austin. He is I guess you could say he is my escort everywhere I go, just about. If I'm not on an airplane, he's pretty much with me. I mean, he goes everywhere I go. Loves to be out there at the ranch and working with me as I'm working with the horses, and pretty much takes every step that I take. So I'm glad to have him with me. Today, what I'm going to talk to you guys about is an old quote. I'm going to as I share this story with you, I'm going to get you to think about your efficiency, and at the same time, kind of how we learn as well as how horses learn. Many years ago, when I was pretty darn young, I started calf roping. And even though I was a little bitty skinny fella, I was pretty darn athletic. And because the typical farm and ranch kid, lifting hay, lifting feed bags, and that sort of thing, I was kind of stout, typical farm and ranch kid. So obviously I had a little bit of ability to work with. And again, I was young, but you learn, right? You learn how to use your body. You learn how to use those things to give yourself whatever advantage you can possibly give you. Well, I'd started getting a little bit pretty good. And after a while, started learning things to do that would make you even better. So, for example, I would started breaking down my calf roping thing to where I'd rope and I'd practice my tine. I'd rope and I'd practice my tine. So sometimes I'd just have, a calf or two tied to the fence, and sometimes I'd flank it and I'd sit on top of it and tie it over and over and over again. Other times I'd practice flanking. Well, one day, there's a fellow by the name of Ernie Taylor. He was like the Roy Cooper of his day. He was world champion calf roper, phenomenal athlete, really, really good during his day and time. And it turned out that he lived north of where we lived, and every once in a while he'd be down in the Texas circuit going to various rodeos, and on his way home he would pass by our place. Well, apparently one day he saw our lights on in the arena, so he decided to pull in, and when he pulled in, I'm out there tying calves, and as I'm tying calves, he's watching me, and of course, just because of who he was, I'm trying to show off. I'm trying to go as fast as I could go, and trying to do everything as quickly as possible. And he finally said to me, he said, "Well, Van," he said, "slow down, son, to be fast. Slow down to be fast." And with all due respect, I looked up at him and I said, "Mr. Taylor, it's a time to vent." Here I am, a little kid, probably might have been 11, 12 years old, somewhere in that range, maybe 13, I don't know, but little kid, and I'm telling, multi-time world champion cowboy at calf roping that it's a time to vent, as if he didn't already know. Well, then he went on to explain, every time you make a mistake, you've got to go back and fix that mistake. And that takes more time than just slowing down and not making a mistake. What a great lesson that turned out to be. Granted, it was calf roping, and it helped tremendously with that specific event, and it was very applicable to what we were doing, especially what I was doing at that point in time. But over the years, I've learned to use that in almost everything that I do in my everyday life, and especially in training horses. And that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. It's so important that you master whatever it is that you're doing with your horse at a slower rate and a slower pace. Whenever you do everything really good and you make sure that everything is really fully understood, and when I say understood, make sure you understand what it is that you're asking your horse to do. Come up with a plan to communicate that to your horse, and then execute your plan. Your horse will tell you then how good your plan is. In other words, as you begin to implement your suggestion, question, or whatever it is that you're trying to imply that you want your horse to do, then your horse is going to start giving you immediate feedback. And I want you to understand that the feedback your horse gives you, whether you like it or you don't, the feedback your horse gives you is 110% honest feedback. It is good, legitimate information that you can use to tell you whether or not your plan is good, or your communication is good, or that your execution is good. But it's important that you slow down and you put those things into play and listen very carefully to your horse. Where so many people make a mistake is we are sold on our idea, we're sold on our plan. I know I'm doing it exactly the way I saw the trainer do it, and I'm going to do it just like that. And then we expect those immediate results, and when they don't happen, we get frustrated. So what do? We either speed up what we're doing or we say whatever we're doing louder. And it's not about the speed, and it's not about the volume, it's about the clarity. When we make what we want to achieve clear and easy to understand, then it makes it easier for everybody on the page to execute that plan and then succeed. But we need to learn to slow that process down so that we don't make as many mistakes. Or that if you do make a mistake, it's not such a big mistake that it costs you more time to go back and fix that. So we'll talk about that more if you like, but for the moment, let's just say this: let's slow down to be fast. Thank you, Ernie Taylor, wherever you are. It's been forever since I've seen you, but thank you so much for sharing me those words of wisdom back in that day and time. I needed it then, still need it, and use it every day today. Thank you guys for joining me on the Ranch Road, and until next time, this is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship.